In the ancient city of Jerusalem, during the time of the Passover, the streets were alive with activity. In the midst of this bustling city, a great and solemn event was about to unfold, the betrayal of Jesus. It all began on a fateful evening when Jesus gathered with his closest disciples for a special meal. This meal, known as the Last Supper, was a time of reflection and revelation. Jesus knew that his time on earth was coming to an end, and he wanted to prepare his friends for the trials that lay ahead. During the meal, Jesus made a startling announcement. He said, "Truly, I say to you, one of you will betray me." His words hung heavy in the air, and the disciples began to question him, each wondering if they could be the one to commit such a grievous act. One of the disciples, Judas Iscariot, had a heart filled with darkness. He had been following Jesus for some time, but his love for money and power had led him down a treacherous path. Greed had consumed him, and he saw an opportunity to profit from betraying his teacher. Judas secretly made a pact with the religious leaders who opposed Jesus. He agreed to identify Jesus with a kiss in exchange for 30 pieces of silver. This simple act of betrayal would set into motion the events that would lead to the crucifixion of Jesus. After the Last Supper, Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray. His heart was heavy with sorrow, knowing the pain and suffering that awaited him. He asked his disciples to keep watch, but they fell asleep. Judas, guided by a group of soldiers and religious leaders, arrived in the garden. He approached Jesus and sealed his betrayal with a kiss. This was the sign the soldiers needed to arrest Jesus. The arrest of Jesus led to a series of trials, beatings, and ultimately, his crucifixion on a cross. It was a dark and painful chapter in the story of Jesus. Judas, after realizing the magnitude of his betrayal, tried to return the money to the religious leaders. Filled with guilt and remorse, he could not bear the weight of his actions. He went out and hanged himself, a tragic end to his part in this story. The story of Jesus' betrayal is a powerful and tragic tale, but it's also a part of a greater message. It's a reminder of the choices we make in our lives, the consequences of those choices, and the forgiveness and redemption that can be found through faith and repentance. It's a story that, despite its darkness, ultimately leads to the triumph of love, sacrifice, and the hope of redemption through the resurrection of Jesus.